You push through the roar of a crowd. You're surrounded by thousands of people in a stadium, everyone cheering for the WashU Bears football team. This could have been the reality, with the stadium slated to replace Francis Olympic Field in the late 1920s. Unfortunately, opposition from University City and other factors led to the project's cancellation. However, there is a rich history of WashU's current athletic facilities dating all the way back to the 1904 Olympics. This is the story of Francis Gym, Summers Rec Center, and the athletic complex, and their role in shaping campus life for both students and athletes for many years. The history of the complex begins with the construction of Francis Gym on the current site of Summers Rec Center. Francis Gym opened in 1902, just in time to host the 1904 Olympics. The building was named for David R. Francis, the former mayor of St. Louis, who was instrumental in bringing the World's Fair and Olympics to the city. During the Olympics, the building hosted boxing and fencing events. After the Olympics, the building was turned over to WashU. Inside was a beautiful hardwood gym floor connected to a 3-floor entry building with offices, lockers, classrooms, and a basement.
The Francis Gym was a venerable building. I realized it was historic.
It got used a lot by the staff, actually. They did something every day called noon hoops.
It was pretty much the way it was when they held the Olympics. In each side of the gym, in the tower, were handball courts. Behind the second one was a room. That's where I lived. They charged us $1 a night. Of course, you had to go down 3 flights of stairs to get to a bathroom, but we were young.
It was like an old high school gym where you were kind of crunched up along the walls.
We had locker rooms that were in the basement. It was kind of a dingy basement. It was pretty crowded in there. It wasn't the most up-to-date. We didn't care. We were happy to have a locker room. And we all had friends who ran Division III cross country at other schools who didn't even have that.
Our locker room was not conducive to meetings at all because the lockers actually created alleys instead of having an open room. Our visitors' locker room was no more than 15 by 20 feet. We didn't like that because the image that projected about Washington University.
In 1922, the complex expanded with the construction of Wilson Pool to the north, which was perpendicular to the gym. Inside was a 6-lane pool, as well as an upper floor that overlooked the pool. A few years later, in 1926, the field house was built directly behind Wilson Pool. Throughout the years, the field house hosted many events, including basketball games and speeches from prominent figures, such as former Vice President Hubert Humphrey.
So when Vice President Humphrey came to speak, we all cheered. We were with him, we were for the war and so on. A year later, none of us were, we were vulnerable.
We had concerts with the Temptations and the Righteous Brothers, and St. Louis Hawks professional basketball team would practice in there.
By the early 80s, the Fieldhouse and Wilson Pool facilities were becoming dated.
It had an old floor, broken windows, birds flying around inside the facility.
Water filtration system. It wasn't an overflow gutter where the water would flow over the gutters and be non-turbulent. They had a waterfall coming out in the middle lane. Many schools, when they came to swim us, well, they didn't want that lane because they didn't want this waterfall in their face. It was becoming hard to get other teams to want to come to WashU and swim. And above the women's locker room was the wrestling room. So during practice, we'd always hear thump, 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 thump.
I was into my first day, sitting at my desk, and I get a knock on the door. The county inspector is here. She told me that she's closing Wilson Pool. It's a violation of every code I can think of.
Wilson Pool was demolished in 1983 and the athletic complex was built. This involved a reconstruction of the field house using its original structure.
This was built with a lot of practicality in mind. The university's attitude was really to provide a facility that's for everybody.
The construction of Millstone Pool,
A nicer facility that other teams were willing to travel. It made it a lot easier to recruit students because they were a lot more excited to continue their swimming career.
and the varsity gym. The complex was connected to Francis Gym. The complex opened in stages, with the field house opening at the end of 1984 and the official dedication of the entire complex, featuring guest speaker Howard Cosell, occurring in November 1985. Students welcomed all of the changes the complex brought. Convocation, which was started by Chancellor Wrighton in the late 90s, also took place in the field house. The event was held there, and then students would walk from the building to Brookings Quad for a celebration.
Convocation isn't this long tradition at WashU.
I thought it was a great venue. It could hold all of the students.
Towards the tail end of William Danforth's chancellorship, a special opportunity for the university to host a debate in the 1992 presidential election cycle became available. With only a week before the debate, the university that was scheduled to host the debate dropped out. Senator John Danforth, the chancellor's brother, was on the commission for presidential debates and turned to WashU to host it. Chancellor Danforth took on the challenge, putting together a team led by Dean Bob Virgil. Based on the success of other large events, the field house and the athletic complex were chosen for the debate.
It's a large volume, very big space with the amenities that would need it.
We had to build stages.
Temporary facilities were built in the hallways to house the candidates and their teams.
They had to set up air conditioning, a lot of telephone lines.
They needed a bank of payphones so that after the debate they could write their story and they could literally call in their story.
In the end, the event went off without a hitch.
They said we did a terrific job in only 1 week.
Chancellor Wrighton continued the legacy of hosting more debates. Unfortunately, the 1996 debate was canceled at the last minute. WashU was chosen for presidential debates in 2000, 2004, and 2016. In 2008, the university held the vice presidential debate, while in 2012, the university was a backup for a presidential debate.
It's a television studio with an audience. In close proximity to all that, you need to have space for the media to work, to write their stories. So if you give the Democrats 2,000 square feet over here for their offices, you have to have exactly 2,000 square feet to give to the Republicans.
How they needed printers, how they needed papers, tables, desks, and both sides had to request a specific amount. They had to tailor all of that.
My office were used for the debaters. We got to know the Secret Service people. They had a basketball sign for each of us.
Bill Clinton sat in my office right there, signed a football helmet for us.
We felt very privileged as athletes because, in the days leading up to the debate, they gave us a wristband. On the day of the debate, we went in at like 9:30 and then just hung around the gym, walking around as late as we could. We got to meet the debate moderator, Charles Gibson. Soon after that, they found out we didn't have the right credentials and kicked us out.
We are the center of the universe. Everybody kind of bent over backwards as much as you can.
The collaboration between our planners and the athletic department cannot be understated. They were moving practices, they were moving teams out to play elsewhere.
Hosting the debates brought a lot of positive press to the university. Over the years, improving technology made hosting the event even easier.
In 2000, we now had a little bit more robust internet, but still not Wi-Fi. So we were running miles and miles and miles of cable to anybody could just come in, open up their laptop, and file their story.
At the same time, security was stepped up. Time will tell if WashU will host another debate in the future. Within the complex, there were limited facilities for weight and cardio activities beyond gymnasium space, even with the mid-'80s renovation.
It was a small room. The weights had been there for a while, and some of the machinery was maybe a little outdated. We shared it with the student body, so our guys were going through their lifting and would have to wait for somebody else to finish what they were doing. I got to meet a lot of professors down in that weight room over the years, people that would become strong supporters of us when they saw how our student athletes were doing in the classroom.
No windows. It wasn't that nice.
One of the only minor updates to the workout offerings was the addition of a small cardio space called the McWilliams Fitness Center that opened in 1995 in a former storage room.
On the opposite those pictures, there was a set of treadmills in there. It was really insufficient for the demand. The rumor was that you weren't allowed to do any renovations to Francis because it was a historical building, and you used to walk around campus, you'd see the tours, and they'd come by and they'd say, oh, this is site of the Olympics, but we're not allowed to make any changes to it.
In order to build a world-class fitness facility, it was decided that, despite the historical importance of Francis Gym, most of it would have to be demolished. This happened in 2014.
A facility that was not worth renovating to its complete potential.
The original facade of Francis Gym and the 3-floor entry building were saved.
My offices were still atop the old Francis gymnasium. Off that is a large room called the Alumni Room. That's the only room that still exists today.
The facade became the entryway into the space, compared to previously when people would enter through the athletic complex. Summers Rec Center's entrance area with the bridge is in the old structure, while the main workout area is where Francis Gym was previously, and the basketball courts and indoor track to its south are new. Before Summers Rec Center opened to students, the new facility made hosting the 2016 debate even easier.
The opening of Summers helped give them not only space, but really good quality space.
It expanded the opportunity to have the after-debate activities.
Summers Rec Center was used to house press and spin alley. Finally, at the end of October 2016, the Rec Center opened to rave reviews, making workout and athletic facilities more available to all students.
The tiniest of details were taken care of in that. That brought our campus body together. We don't have to be ashamed of saying we like sports or we like the healthy body.
This is our secret to success in athletics at WashU, is we have good facilities that help us meet what our desires are. And all we have to do is provide the sweat and hard work.
What we wanted to do was to provide a world-class facility for our students, and we did that.
In its current state, the entire complex fulfills its true purpose of bringing healthy excellence to the students of WashU.